At 15 seconds, guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds. Forward, drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
We're going to be busy for a minute.
Armstrong is on the moon.
Yeah,
Neil
they're off the limb
Armstrong,
now.
38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon. On this July 20th, 1969.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Hey brick builders, welcome back inside Theater 43 for episode 2. We're here brick building at Theater 43, and here it is, our first build inside Theater 43 for this new video experience, whatever you'd like to call it. The Saturn V, Apollo Saturn V. This is the rocket that went to the moon, took American astronauts to the moon in the 60s as part of the Apollo program. If you're a big space nerd like me, I cannot endorse this build enough. Lego is calling this number 21309. Comes with a beautiful book. I can't stress enough, this is the first thing I noticed that was really interesting about this, is the first few pages of this book comes with a whole bunch of information about the Apollo program. It tells you a whole bunch about kind of the history of the Apollo program, what this mission was all about, going to the moon. Some really really neat pictures from the project back in the 60s, some lovely black and white stuff. And then it even goes into a really nice page about the builders themselves. These guys, if you don't know, are part of the LEGO Ideas program. They submitted an idea. It went to a vote, in essence, online with LEGO Ideas. And here we are. These guys won, I don't know if you want to call it a contest or not, but they put this thing together. It's a fantastic build. It's to somewhat of a scale, I believe. They weren't able to get all aspects of the actual spacecraft into its full design, so they kind of broke some pieces off into separate builds. The lunar module comes as a separate little design, but you can mount it to the command module underneath, which is kind of neat. And I really dug the minifigures, which we've seen before, but now they're in Spaceman format. So that'd be Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong with their American flag on the moon. I thought that was really, really interesting. Some really fascinating stuff going on here. You can split the build into multiple pieces, the different stages of the launch cycle. It's probably too tall for the frame. I'm sure you can't see all of it, but simply enough, you can remove all the pieces and have access to, you know, your launch stages, which I thought was really impressive. As you tick away, lots of interesting detail. The launch, the boosters themselves, I thought was one of the most impressive parts of this build. The main launch stage took the longest of the build. Really nice pieces there, if you can see. Incredible detail. They really got it right. And you'll see some time lapse as we go here and we talk about it. If you're not a fan of repetition, not probably the best build for you. Having said that, there's a lot of really nice detail here, and the first thing that I noticed, no stickers. That's a huge debate in the LEGO community right now. If you're like me, I think stickers are a little blasphemous. When I was a kid, growing up in the 80s and 90s, there were no stickers. The parts came printed, and that's what they've done here. All this really nice USA decaling, the American flags, all part of the bricks. So it takes a second to find some of these bricks because you're looking for specific pieces, but it's a really nice detail once it's on. A lot of repetition, as I mentioned, a lot of bricking. Just the feature, the covering is the round, square, rectangular pieces for the black and white casing on the outside. The superstructure inside, the framing that holds all this together, you can see a little bit of it there. And I'll try and get it above too, so you can see it on top. There's some really interesting stuff going on with how the pieces interlock together, and I'll try and show you on the build designs as well. When you're building it, a lot of neat connection points, but they've done it in such a way where the colors stand out, and some of the mounting pieces for the exterior are done color-coded, some reds, some blues. Because things have to be inserted on a 45-degree angle. You can barely see what you're doing. There's some really interesting stuff going on when you're doing it. So I'll give you a word of caution there that on some of the pieces, it's hard to finesse into the right spot. Once you do a couple, you'll understand the pattern, and then the rest of the build will go on pretty easily. A lot of that happens through this venting here across the main stage of the rocket booster. You'll find that, like I said, color-coded reds and blues to tell you which angle to go on, and as your build goes, it gets a little easier. Some nice stuff happening here with detail, but it's a lot of an intricate piecing. The small round individual units get pieced together, black and whites with the small coin looking, if you play the video games, you know what I'm talking about, the Lego coins. They get mounted together to form some of this really nice detailing through here. When this thing is done, it's impressive. The way it mounts back together, I was blown away. The ease of putting it all, taking it apart in the individual stages, putting it back together, kind of nicely done. Simplistic, not complicated to put together in terms of its build when you're assembling this build. Just a couple of hook and loop designs. And that's all that holds this thing together. I do stress a bit of caution when you're mounting it all back together, just so you don't, get too rammy. Do take your time. As you can see there, it didn't mount super nicely, but a little press, a little pressure, you hear the click, and it comes back together very, very nicely. Lots of repetition. Some people find that relaxing. Some people find that annoying. It depends on your preference. I cannot recommend this build more. It's a piece of history. It's a piece of Americana. Whether you believe in the moon landings or not, to me that's irrelevant. These rockets left the atmosphere. They were powerful forces of nature that shook the earth when they took off. And to see it in this scale in Lego, just impressive. I would say a total of 5+ hours on and off to build this thing. Just with trying to do this and take video of it at the same time adds a little bit of time as well. But if you're into the space program, if you're into pieces that show off, this is one of the nicer aspects of this build. Is it comes with stands, it comes with displays for you to show off all the intricate pieces. You can put this on a shelf, you can stand it up vertically. Plus, I've also seen stuff on Amazon, third-party aspects. There's a company out of the UK right now that are selling really lovely plexiglass. They look like glass cases to mount this thing in. And you could put that on your shelf or on the wall. Shows it off really, really nicely. The other thing I've seen, and I'm just starting to research now, there's a bunch of third-party, master builders as we call them. You guys are out there making launch towers for this thing. Parts are available for the Lego building software. Impressive stuff. I have a PC Surface that I use for work. Ground that thing to a halt when I tried to load up that plan. But there are third-party things out there for the actual, I think it's Launchpad 39A or something like that down at Cape Canaveral. You can get for this. I don't even want to know how many pieces it is. It was super detailed. Really impressive design though. If you were to print off the brick list and get it built, I'm sure you're looking at probably a couple hundred bones easily. But once again, super impressive design right from command module all the way down to the main boosters. Just lots of detail, really intricate work with accuracy to photos and archives and records. And just if you're a fan of anything space from the 60s, that major space race, I do recommend you pick this up. It is an excellent good time. I think we're going to leave it there. This is the Saturn V. Really impressive build. And I hope you enjoyed seeing some of that time-lapse stuff. Any feedback, let me know. Remember, we're on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all the different social medias. We've got some interesting stuff coming up. Also, they announced today the Harry Potter Wizarding World. They're going to be re-amping up that Harry Potter world, so we can be talking about that in a few weeks as well, with the announcement of the Hogwarts Castle, the school, saying it's about 6,000 pieces, going to be retailing for $500 Canadian. Really cool. Coming up on Brick Builds in the next couple of days and weeks, we've got some things on deck, some stuff from the Marvel Universe. I've even acquired the James Bond Aston Martin, which was a huge, kind of a surprise. They did a bunch of neat marketing with the James Bond folks, and that's been launched, and it is in Theater 43. It's sitting in the box, ready to go for us, so that'll be coming to you soon. Any questions, do let me know. Once again, all the contact info is down below for all the social medias. Do get in touch. Tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like. If there's anything you want to see, or if there's any questions you have about some of your Lego builds, don't be afraid to let us know. And we will get to it all here on Brick Building at Theater 43. Keep building, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.